Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful, recovering alcoholic, and I'm still a stroke survivor. And thank you, as always, for joining me. I hope you had a fantastic Independence Day. Some of you who are listening might have been challenged to look at fireworks like me. So I spent the evening as the fireworks started to boom. I crawled into bed with my puppies, and my bulldog Boris did a fantastic job last night. And what I did was I turned on puppy meditation, and it was specifically made, at least it was marketed as on YouTube, for dogs during fireworks. And it worked. It was so weird that it worked. It was like meditation music, but it was on a higher octave. And it was very varied. It was varied as far as like the sounds that were happening. And I wonder if it allowed the booms and the crackles of the fireworks to kind of mix into the music. But we just sat there and listened to it. And the night before, Boris had been trembling so badly that the bed was trembling. And he was breathing really hard, which is kind of a normal trait of his. But last night there were a couple times where he would breathe really hard for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, maybe, and then he laid back down, and that is very unusual for him. So, it worked out really well. And then in addition to the puppy meditation music, I also gave him puppy Joanna, which is catnip. It's just a quarter of a teaspoon of it's branded, marketed as puppy Joanna, but the ingredients it says is catnip. And you can put a quarter of a teaspoon in their food, and it's supposed to calm them down. And I don't know, the combination, it worked. So there you have it. If you want a cure for puppy anxiety syndrome during fireworks, that is the cocktail that seemed to work for poor little Bobes. So there you have it. And yeah, so we crawled into bed and fell asleep to the sound of the booms. And I thought this year was the first year that I thought, fireworks don't really change over the years. I think once I've seen a big show, I've seen them all. So the year before, I was feeling very jealous, and I was peeking out of the window to look at them anyway, even though it hurt my head. But this year, I didn't see any of them. I didn't feel inspired to there was a tiny little itch I had to peek out the window, but then I didn't. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, you've seen fireworks before, they're 50-year-old. So I didn't do it. And then this morning I went and got my hairs did, as a friend of mine used to say, and I just took a nap for a couple hours. So I feel rested. I still feel a little groggy from that, but the reason that I took off from the podcast for a couple days is because we were visiting some family that's in town, and that always triggers me too. So I didn't want to go overboard and make sure that I take care of myself. So I did a good job. Yay, me. I did a good job. I had willpower. No, I didn't have willpower, but that's what the topic is today. What I had was the tools to make the correct decisions for myself. and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So The reading this morning was from the Daily Reflection, and it's called A New Direction. And what came to mind as I was listening to the reading for the day was I was like, oh, I've never had willpower. Like, I have no willpower. I have zero willpower. If I want it, then that's what I'm going to do. Whatever I want, when I want it, I'm going to get it. So I thought that was, I don't have any willpower. That was my old belief, and felt a little shameful about that. But the reading, after, gosh, it took me like 20 minutes to realize what I was thinking was not right. They were the wrong, I was using the wrong words. It wasn't that I didn't have willpower. It was misplaced. And that's what the reading was about. It really, what I heard in my mind was choosing the next right thing over my wanter. That's what I felt like was the, if I were to reword, thy will be done, not mine. Excuse me. I had a couple starbursts, I'm not going to lie, and it's irritating my throat now. When I talk, I know better than that. Um, so when I hear thy will be done, not mine, because that's what it kind of was talking about for me in the reading this morning, it's also choosing the next right thing over my wanter. And so I didn't have lack of willpower. I was following my own will. That's what that was. And I didn't really get that for the first 20 minutes this morning. So I thought back all those years when I couldn't say no to myself, right? I couldn't say no to myself. I felt like I had no willpower. I felt like I was just a glutton for like doing the wrong thing. I just can't stop myself from whatever it was. Whatever it was, I had to do it. And if I just tried harder, it didn't matter. I would end up waiting longer to get what I wanted, which just left me frustrated. I didn't understand this shift, and it was possible to think differently. And today I have the tools to make choices that are healthier for me. And they're not always in line with my wanter. Sometimes they are, and that's a great day. A great day is when I want the same thing that is good for me. Be it going out for one of my rucking walks, or having some vegetables. You know what I mean? I mean, those are just small examples, but when I'm wanting the same thing that is good for me, it mimics that idea for me as when my will aligns with thy will. So this idea of moving away from self-will towards surrender seems very painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. It, for me, all started by doing the next right thing. I'm telling you that that phrase, do the next right thing, was saved my life. It did. I'll never forget, and I know I say it probably too much, but sitting on Saturday mornings at like 9 o'clock in the morning, I had just woken up after a whole week's worth of work, and I was newly sober, and I was thinking, I don't want to go to a meeting. I don't want to get dressed and get in the car and go to a meeting. I don't know these people. But I stood up anyway, even while my wanter or my don't wanter was telling me, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do it. I just got up and did it anyway. It was like something else had taken over me. And what had taken over me was the power of the program, the power of something outside of myself. It wasn't me that was driving my actions, it was the program already. And I hadn't even yet formed a strong relationship with a God of my understanding, but I did already have a higher power, and that higher power was the fellowship, were the people in the program. I was going because I knew that that's what they would do. That's what they would be echo that, that their shares were echoing in my mind. What would they do? They would get up and go. And I know they're going to be there. So get up and go. And it just so happened that voice inside of me, albeit it was very quiet in the beginning, it was still there. And it was saying, I don't care. It was like my own parent. I was my own mom. I say that a lot too. It was saying, I don't care what you want. You have to get up and go. It's like when I used to give my kids vegetables and they were like, I don't want them. And I said, well, I used to say, well, that's incredibly convenient because you don't have to want them. You don't even have to like them. You just have to eat them. And that's really what I was doing. I don't have to want to go. I don't even have to like to go. I just have to go. So, so that's what I did. And once I started doing that, once I started just go anyway, I did an interview with a fellow podcaster who happens to be somebody that I met through the program. And that's what he ended up naming the podcast. Our interview was go anyway, because that was really the theme. That's what drives me, is that do the next right thing. And so after I start nurturing that voice, hearing that voice that's saying do the next right thing, it started to get louder. I started to hear it louder than my wanter. And over time, with a lot of practice, that was the one that I listened to more often than not. And it was a lot of people in the program told me to I just lost my train of thought. A lot of people in the program told me it's gone. That's what happens when you listen to somebody who had a stroke. It's gone. We're going to keep going. So once I started doing that, accepting my limitations probably started to get more comfortable after that. I didn't go into the program being like, okay, you're an alcoholic. I accept that I'm an alcoholic, and now I can't do any of those things, and I have to do all of these these actions that are in line with my program. I have to go to meetings. It didn't work like that for me. It wasn't like I admitted that I was an alcoholic and I accepted it, and then I was very courageous and strong, even though that's what it appeared like to other people. I had lots of people, I shared this morning, I had lots of people who said, oh, you're so strong. And I thought, but I'm not. I'm not strong. I am just doing the next right thing. I'm not humoring my wanter anymore. So, admitting that I was an alcoholic felt like it was a weakness, and I had to be strong. That's what I thought was going to happen for me. I thought I was going to have to be really strong for the rest of my life. And I didn't think I had it in me to do that, because I've never had good, willpower. I've never had it. But again, that's not what has happened for me. So enter stroke recovery and chronic conditions. It felt like that again, all over again. I felt like I had to be strong. I still say it. I was just telling a family member yesterday, I was like, I don't really have a lot of self-restraint. It's really difficult for me. Her and I were sitting outside at my mother-in-law's house, and I was looking at the birds. Like while she was talking to me, I was watching the birds, and then I started to get nauseous. And I said, I think I have to go inside now. And she was like, yeah, I was gonna say, just let me know when you've reached your limit. And I said, well, I don't have any self-restraint. When I'm outside, I just want to look around. Although that backyard is not one that I sit in often. So I was looking around it was beautiful back there. And so there were lots of birds and greenery and all of that stuff. And so I couldn't help myself, right? Quote unquote. I couldn't help myself. But finally, it came to me, I have to do the next right thing. And that means I have to go inside. And getting to that point where I can be honest with myself, because that's what it is. I'm being honest with myself. I'm telling myself what I don't want to hear. And as much as that feels, again, like it is deflating, it's actually freeing to be able to not have to pretend like I don't hear that voice in my head. I also don't have to be self-reliant. So I need to be honest with myself, but with that comes being honest with others and admitting to others, like, I've hit my limit and I need to go inside. So all of this is like intertwined to me. There's an ego that comes to play, like, that I hear yesterday when we were sitting outside. You shouldn't be doing this, Rachel. You need to go inside. Um, it's, I'm trying to find the word for, like when I'm sitting there and when I first think, okay, you've reached your limit. You have to make a decision now that's better for your health, and that is to go inside. There is a bit of me that sinks at that very moment that I realize, okay, you have to do the next right thing, and it's not what you want to do. You have to go inside. And I get to that point where I feel like I'm my mom, and I'm like, yes, mom, where I have to go inside, but it's still not, it's not willpower that's making me make that decision. I don't need willpower. What I need is, I don't need the strength inside of me. I need a power outside of me that's greater than me. And even in stroke recovery and vestibular recovery, that power includes all the people that I get to listen to in my support group meetings telling me that I feel the same way. Like I struggle with that too. That gives me power. It like energizes me to be, because I know I'm not alone anymore. I don't have to run on self-will. I don't have to depend on me. I also don't have to lean on others to fix me. Thank goodness, because there are some times when my husband, I know I can see him. I can see him thinking, you need to stop doing that, whatever I'm doing, because it's going to aggravate my head. For example, if I go on the computer to like look at a new house that hit the market or something like that, then I look at that house and then I'm like, oh, well, let me look back at this other house again. And I can almost feel him thinking, you probably just need to stop now and stuff. But he doesn't say it. Sometimes he's driven to say it because I just don't, my do the next right thing chooser is broken and I just keep doing what's bad for me. But because I have these tools that I continue to work on to get stronger at listening to, I don't have to have somebody else trying to fix me or guide me. Like I lean on my higher power, and my higher power is everything outside of me, including my concept of my higher power. I don't need to be rescued anymore. Oh my gosh. When I was drinking, that was me. Was I had to be rescued from everything. And now, even just when I wobble, I can feel my higher power, something outside of myself that helps me. Whether that is, I remember one of the phrases in the program. I remember a vestibular exercise that will help me, like with all of these invisible illnesses that I deal with every day. I am open and willing to accept help and to listen to that voice, that mom inside of me that tells me what the next right thing I need to do is. And that mom is not my mom. That mom is the new mom that I have inside of me. It's the adult that was born when I got sober. That's what I envision, that's in my head. And she is telling the disobedient version of myself what I need to do. And sometimes I just need to surrender and trust that I don't know, like the disobedient version of me doesn't know best. And I need to listen to the mom version of me. So the next right thing is way stronger than willpower. Because when I obsess about something long term, I'm either going to get exhausted or the target is going to change, right? And then if I'm looking, think about it when you're out on a walk. If you're looking way, way far ahead of you, it's pretty easy to trip over a rock that's right in front of you because you're not looking down. So sometimes if I'm too focused on the long goal, I can't see the next step in front of me. And that's why it's it's easier to choose that next step knowing what's ahead of me. And it's not like I'm blind to what's ahead of me, but choosing my next step rather than just keeping my eye on the horizon and never looking at what's right in front of me. Because I'll trip over what's right in front of me, literally and figuratively. So the sustained strength that it appears that I have is simply having the consistency to put one foot in front of the other. That's all it is. It's consistency. So my strength today is showing up and taking a step in the direction towards what's on the horizon. And that direction is what the daily reflection for me was speaking about. Was I was so misguided before. I wasn't looking at all at the horizon at all when I was drinking. I was only interested in immediate gratification. So it's similar where I'm looking at what's right in front of me. What do I want now? And it feels like I'm focused on the moment, but it's not considering the long run at all. Um, so it's a combination of both for me. So having that choice now to be able to see the horizon, choose my direction, try to align it with the next right thing. You know, if I consider the next right thing when I take a step, I'm actually pausing and thinking, okay, which step is going to get me towards that thing on the horizon and which is going in the wrong direction. So that's what the gift is. I didn't used to think I had a choice. I used to believe that I was trapped and I was a servant to my wanter, that I had to obey every urge or emotion. Like, if I want to do this, then that's what I'm going to do. And when I heard myself saying, well, you should be doing that, then I was just like, yeah, but I want to do this, and this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes my wants and my shoulds align. And like I said, that is awesome. That's where grace meets growth. And I feel like, okay, I'm doing the next right thing. Like, I deserve a reward. And, seriously, I deserve a starburst. And I try to reward myself when I find those moments where things are aligning. And I have to look at it daily. That's why I go to my meetings every day. That's why I do my podcast every day. I have to work on my program in order to stay centered, and I can't see the truth, the real truth about where I am, and look at the horizon from where I actually am, the truth, without spiritual practice, without being all these words that everybody talks about now, without being mindful and present and, meditation and prayer and all of that stuff. But I know everybody's talking about it now, and sometimes I get annoyed. Wait, somebody was getting interviewed last night on the news, and he was talking about, it was like the four pieces of happiness or something. It was like, what are the four things that lead to true happiness or something like that. And so they were interviewing him on the news, and I thought, he's saying the same thing that every other person in the world is saying about all of this self-help stuff. It says the exact same thing. And it's not bad. It's just that I was telling my husband, I'm like, nobody is coming up with a new idea here. It's all the same stuff. And I guess that's a good thing. It's that everybody's coming to the same realizations that we need to be present. I mean, it's all, for me, it's all coming back to the same thing, which is, what's the next right thing? Like, I need to keep my mind where my feet are, like I say all the time. But it's being able to have a program and recognize that every day. And if you're good at it, recognize it throughout the day as well. Being able to pause and all of that good stuff. And the way that I'm reminded of that is to hook up with other people that are doing it. with my fellowship. I don't need strength to do what I do. I don't need strength. What I need is lots of sleep, lots of sleep, and then I just need willingness to do things that I don't want to do sometimes. And um, that is that is will I don't know what I was gonna say that is my willpower aligning with his willpower, but I just don't know anymore. It's almost like when I hear the willpower today, when I think of that phrase willpower, my willpower, I I don't even like to think of it like that because willpower just seems like this lengthy, sustained strength. And anybody who's human needs to rest. You know, everybody who's human needs to make decisions along the way in the direction that you want to go. And it's not a sustained strength. You know, that's just my opinion. So I just choose presence. I choose surrender. I choose open mindedness. I choose willingness. And every time I choose that, I build trust in myself and trust in that I don't have control of people, places, and things, and that all I need to do is just keep honing in on the next right thing, and things just shake out in the right way. I still hear the disobedient self that tells me what I want to do, but for some reason, and I guess it's practice, I know that I get to pause and choose what I'm going to do. And I don't know. It's freeing. I don't feel a lot of pressure anymore. It helps that I don't have a job anymore, but I feel free to, I don't feel like I'm a victim of my wanter anymore. And I get to acknowledge what I want and then make the decision like, okay, what is moving me in the direction that I think my higher power would want me to go? And does it align with where I want to go? You know, there should be some time spent recognizing that this is where I know I should go, and I don't really want to do that, but why? You know, and tuning into myself and my emotions and all that stuff. But that's a totally different topic, I think, at that point. But so that's what I've got for you today is, and I don't know where that concluded. Does that mean I don't believe in willpower, in self-will? I think it's what is self-will deconstructed. I think that's where I've landed on this today. What is self-will deconstructed? And I think it's not a long-term thing. I think self-will deconstructed is consistent choices in the right direction, consistent do the next right things. So that's what I've got for you today. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.